Hey guys, Wally here. And I'm not going to talk about anything heavy or anything serious or anything topical in the news today. I'm just gonna make this list of my top 5 favorite Americans in honor of 4th of July, which is one of my favorite holidays. And my other 3 favorite holidays in no particular order is Halloween, Christmas, and Vesak, which is a Buddhist holiday. So I want to hurry up and get into this, so without further ado, let's go. So starting off at number 5 is Stan Lee. And Stan Lee understands America, basically. He understands Americans. And he expresses his understanding and love for Americans through his comics, through Marvel Comics. You can take, for example, Spider-Man, right? He's a working class New Yorker. He's brash, he's sarcastic, he's unapologetic, and most importantly, he's able to take what little he has and make something great. All he just got was bitten by a spider, and with his knowledge of chemistry and technology, he was able to turn himself into a crime-fighting superhero. And speaking of technology, we can also take, for example, Iron Man, who more so represents the innovative nature of America, willing to constantly progress technologically and scientifically with his many marvels in technology, most notably, obviously, his Iron Man suits, right? And last but not least, the XMen, who sort of represent the somewhat troubled past of this nation, but unbeknownst to practically everyone, every nation has had a troubled past. The difference is that the United States is designed for everyone to be equal under the law, and so people have tried to fight and die to make sure that that is the case. And the X-Men they're a great representation of that, because they weren't vengeful, they weren't angry towards human beings, they just simply wanted to protect human beings and live alongside of them. And that's just really it for Stan Lee. Now, at my number 4 pick is JFK. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, in my opinion, is the greatest president of all time. Not to say that George Washington, Calvin Coolidge, Theodore Roosevelt, or even Donald Trump are bad presidents, because they're all good presidents as well. But what John F. Kennedy mainly excelled in is his handling of communism. Most other presidents prior to him, when they handled communism, they specifically handled it on the battlefield, trying to ensure the independence and freedom of nations such as Vietnam, North Korea, and the likes, and Germany, from the hands of communist dictators. But JFK didn't decide to fight communists just on the battlefield. He decided to fight them in innovation as well. He got a man. I can't say that he did it all by himself, right? But he was instrumental in getting a man on the moon. The moon, which is a celestial object that human beings have marveled at since the inception of our species, and we actually were able to set foot on there. It's pretty impressive. And what else is impressive is his willingness and dedication to uproot corruption within the American government, which fucking got him killed, in a sense. It's pretty admirable and noble. So at my number 4 list is Malcolm X. And the reason why I put Malcolm X right after JFK is because of the one thing that I felt JFK was lacking in, and that was in civil rights. And it's not because JFK didn't fight for black people. He did, and he did honestly. But it's just how he felt like we should fight for black people. Take, for example, you'd have Dwight Eisenhower, who was willing to just do what the Constitution says and secure the rights of individuals, of all individuals, black, white, or otherwise. JFK felt like he should be able to remove the rights of white people to refuse the service or the company of black people, which I find to be very unfair and ridiculous. And this is coming from a black person myself. And this is where Malcolm X comes in, because Malcolm X felt like it made more sense for black people and white people to be able to be independent, not only from the government, but from each other, in a sense. And he felt that it is unfair for both blacks and whites to be imposed upon each other. We should freely choose to associate with each other. And Malcolm X also forwarded the idea that you should not be ashamed of your race, And that is what has inspired me to not be ashamed of my race. I'm not proud of my race, but I'm not exactly ashamed of being black as well. And what's funny enough is just that black nationalists and black supremacists nowadays, they are ashamed. They act like they're not, but they are. Because no white man can come to me and call me a nigger and make me feel like the worst thing ever. You can't, because at the end of the day, that word means nothing to me. It means nothing to me. It's just a simple, silly little word used to piss me off, and you failed at pissing me off. And my last 2 entries, neither of which, they're both Slavic, and neither of which are born in this country. But I have, and I always will, hold the idea that America is one nation. It's not one race, it's not one ethnicity, it is one nation. And what makes us Americans is not where you come from, but what you value. that you value. And it's the cultural values of America that makes you an American. And so I believe that Nikola Tesla, the number 4 pick, also represents that well. Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison, their feud has been framed as a case against capitalism, being that Tesla is regarded as the greedy capitalist type, while Tesla is more of the altruistic, humanitarian, humanist type. Which, yes, Tesla isn't a humanist, but he was a humanitarian, and Edison was a greedy scumbag. But at the end of the day, that's not the issue, because Tesla was also a capitalist, you know? Tesla wasn't, trying to argue in favor of capitalism, but neither was Edison. Tesla and Edison just simply profited off of their inventions, which is something that no one really talks about. Tesla has all of these patents. He profited off of all these patents. He actually gained corporate backers. He wasn't hired by the state or by the community. He just gained backing from people such as J.P. Morgan, who also eventually fucked him over. But at the end of the day, Tesla wasn't a socialist. What makes Tesla amazing is the fact that he thought outside of the box scientifically, rather than to just simply be within the confines of science and technology, like how most scientists and engineers are nowadays. Tesla felt like thinking outside of the box. He felt like thinking metaphysically rather than materialistically. And that sort of innovation is what pretty much built the modern American world. And that's why I appreciate him. And last but not least is Ayn Rand. Whereas Nikola Tesla was born in Croatia and he's an ethnic Serb, Ayn Rand was born in Russia and she's Russian. And what I appreciate from her is that she understands the philosophical element of America, which is pretty much to be independent, is to not be dependent on others. And the fact that you are also not only being independent, but trying to serve your own needs is what eventually helps everyone else. Because serving your own capitalistic needs, you won't get that far if your capitalistic endeavor doesn't aid other people in some capacity, right? Take, for example, if you're setting up a fruit stand. If you're only concerned about money and if you're not concerned about the nature of your products, all your apples and oranges having worms in it, you're not going to be able to sell well. But if you produce the best apples, the best oranges, the best grapes, yes, you did it so you can make money, but at the end of the day, you just fed a whole bunch of people in the process, That was Ayn Rand's basic philosophy, So, yeah, that just wraps it up. Those are my top 5 favorite Americans. And my number 6 pick for my favorite American would be... This is a really shitty drum roll. Me, because I'm better than all you motherfuckers. If you like that video, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And follow me on Instagram at wally.ig2 for more YT updates. Goodbye, comrades.